Recent developments in the current legal battle between Ripple and the SEC indicate that XRP is about to enter a critical phase of the conflict. A fine of $10 million has been proposed by Ripple, which is a significant departure from the substantial demand of over $2 billion made by the SEC. This striking disparity in recommended punishments indicates that Ripple and XRP are going to have a difficult journey ahead of them. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share this video, and then we can get started. What exactly is it that we are going to begin with here? There is a whale movement taking place in this room, Justin. 19 million XRP? The transfer of $10 million from Binance to an unknown wallet was completed. It is true that someone is aware of something. As a result of the XRP versus Ripple versus SEC, final remedies are going to be facing an enormous move from XRP. In addition, we are going to discuss it in a later segment of this video. According to Long's evidence, all of the ODL customers of any Ripple subsidiary that use XRP are located outside of the United States. To the best of my knowledge and based on reasonable inquiry, as of the date of this declaration, the following is the following. All of the ODL clients of any Ripple subsidiary who use XRP and ODL products are sophisticated counterparties and have their domiciles outside of the United States. This is because Ripple does not have any ODL customers of its own. The following one, a warning about breaking news. Ripple has just dropped a motion to strike down the SEC's fresh expert papers, which is giving support to their request for remedies and final judgment. Ripple is bringing the hit. On the 22nd of April, we were able to basically witness the statement that was made. Ripple Labs is defending its effort to strike a fresh expert material, which the SEC produced in support of its motion for remedies and entry of final judgment in the year 2024. This is the next one for today. In this case, we are able to see that the SEC has been cooked, Ripple versus SEC. In the past, Ripple has openly recognized its decision, and it is doing so once more now. In order to circumvent the issues that were brought to light by the escort, it has modified the manner in which it sells XRP and altered its contracts. In addition, it has made certain that its counterparties meet the requirements to be accredited investors, and it has received licenses for its subsidiaries to offer XRP as a digital currency in countries other than the United States. Governed by regulatory authorities who do not consider the selling of XRP to be the same as the sale of securities. These appropriate reactions to the ruling of this court offer a reasonable guarantee that the violation will not occur again in the future. So the XRP color code has been updated to $1.40 for the weekend range, has been reconstructed as a demand and accumulation zone, and the consolidation zone has been transformed into a supply zone. The creation of a double bottom. Due to the fact that the double bottom formation is providing us with a powerful bullish signal, I am extremely convinced that the push will start very soon. There is no change in the XRP army, and the ignition is ready to begin. The most recent breaking news. Following a serious misuse of authority in their lawsuit against Deptwax, 2 attorneys from the SEC have been compelled to resign from their positions. Under Gary Gensler's leadership, the SEC has been a complete and utter failure, and it has been met with a significant amount of opposition from the courts. Gary Gensler ought to be the next person to leave the building. What comes next in the Ripple vs. SEC update is the fact that the lawsuit has been resolved, bringing a stop to the proceedings. Following recent events, it appears that the legal struggle between Ripple and the Securities and Exchange Commission is not even close to being ended. The atmosphere is becoming increasingly hot. This is because both parties are unable to agree on the right course of action to take in response to Ripple's breach of different securities regulations. In its place, Ripple suggests a fine of $10 million. Against the request for remedies and entry of final judgment that was submitted by the SEC, Ripple has proposed that the court should not impose a civil penalty that is greater than $10 million. The Commission had earlier urged the court to require Ripple to pay the sum of $2 billion as a pecuniary penalties for infractions related to its institutional XRP sales. This value represents a long cry from the proposed verdict that the SEC had initially proposed. To be more specific, the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) suggested that Ripple pay a civil penalty of $876 million in addition to a prejudgment interest of $200 million and disgorgement of $876 million, which would consist of the profits that Ripple made as a result of its breach of the Securities Act. Ripple, on the other hand, requested that the court reject the request for disgorgement and prejudgment interest and instead concentrate solely on the civil penalty, which should not exceed $10 million. Furthermore, Ripple's attorney presented a number of points as to why the civil penalty should not be more than $10 million. To begin, they indicated that the first higher of the statutory maximum penalties is what corresponds to this particular case. This is due to the fact that the SEC has never made a claim of fraud. It has failed in its tardy attempt to show that Ripple carelessly disregarded the law and has failed to demonstrate that fraud or manipulation occurred. Ripple stated that the Commission's request for a civil penalty of more than $876 million is not the appropriate remedy for the first hire structure because of this reason. However, they went on to say that the only earnings that should be taken into consideration when deciding on a remedy should be the revenue that the corporation receives from pre-complained institutional sales. This would make a civil penalty of no more than $10 million more suitable. An error in accounting was made by the SEC. Ripple argued that the Secretary of the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) made a mistake when calculating the earnings of the company in order to determine the appropriate amount of the cryptocurrency company's fine. It has been stated by the attorney for the company that the Commission did not conduct any analysis or even take into consideration any other areas of Ripple's expenses. In the meantime, they asserted that the SEC did not provide any evidence or explanation for why costs if income is simply a category of expenses that are deductible by Ripple. In a nutshell, Ripple contends that the regulatory body, in the process of determining Ripple's earnings, failed to take into account the amount of money that the business had spent prior to arriving at the conclusion that a fine of over $2 billion was reasonable. During the course of his argument, Ripple's attorney stated that the SEC had also made a mistake by relying on the declaration that Andrea Fox was an unaccounted individual at the agency. They contended that the SEC never disclosed Fox as a fact or expert witness, and that she was not disposed of during the original finding of additional remedies discovery. Additionally, they declared that she was not disposed of. In light of this, they made a motion to strike her declaration as an expert report that was disclosed too frequently. Additionally, Ripple is opposed to the requested injunction by SEC. As a component of this entry for final judgment, the SEC has requested that the courts permanently stop and enjoin Ripple from directly or indirectly making an unregistered offering of institutional sales. This request applies to both direct and indirect sales. Being aware of the potential impact that this could have on their audio transactions, Ripple has submitted a motion to the court making a request for an injunction to be denied. The crypto company contends that the Commission has not demonstrated sufficient grounds to justify the issuance of an injunction. Ripple asserts that the SEC has failed to demonstrate a reasonable possibility of future violations, which is a requirement for the granting of injunctions. Injunctions are typically granted when there is a fear of future infractions. The legal representatives of the cryptocurrency company disclosed further that Ripple has modified the manner in which it sells XRP and altered its contracts in order to prevent any future violations. To present a positive image, they presented a declaration that was written by Monique Long, the president of Ripple, and it details the actions that the business has made in order to prevent future violations. The financial approach asserts that there are no restrictions placed on the price of XRP. In light of Ripple's entry into the stablecoin market, Aljara has lately presented a perspective on X. This comes in the wake of Ripple's attempt to compete with established heavyweights such as Circle by Tether and PayPal. Ripple is entering the $150 billion market to create a USD-backed stablecoin as well as XRP Ledger and Ethereum blockchains, as the cryptocurrency basically stated before the beginning of this month. And more former users voiced their disapproval of Aljara by stating that he required a dose of reality. In the same vein, there were many who believed that Aljara's statement was nothing more than a strategy to attract attention because they believed that it was not in line with the actual situation. So that's pretty much all the information that we have for the video that we filmed today. Remember that you should subscribe, like, and share this post. Peace to you, and I will see you in the next one.